spot for a west wind or a north wind. And of course we don't have that. So there's not a whole lot we can do. But one is just an ancient old buck. Crazy deep forks, big drop tine on one side. His G4 splits and comes in. And the other one is the same thing, like a 190-inch deer with splits inside of splits and probably 20-inch G2s. Two huge deer, probably the two biggest deer we've seen on this property, and they're together. But I don't know if there's any way we can get in on them unless this wind changes.
With the availability of the general archery tag and the incredible abundance of mule deer spread throughout the province, the opportunity to get out in the field and chase these deer for 2 full months is something that we take full advantage of. There's just something about finding a giant old muley bedded beneath a cliff that gets my heart racing like no other species. Now don't get me wrong, you can kill a mature buck at any time throughout the archery season, but as the mule deer legend Cody Robbins himself often says, your best odds of killing a deer are on the opening day of the season, and it gets incrementally tougher with each day that passes. By the time we had made it into camp this year, it was actually the second day of the archery season, and we were set up watching a group of bachelor bucks as the sun started to peek over the horizon on our season.
He's a good scorer. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a big deer. That sucks. If he would have stayed there, we'd have been in good shape. But now, where's he gonna go? Oh, we're gonna have to go in. Oh yeah, he's big. That's the big frame we're looking at. Yeah. It's not real wide, but he's got an amazing forks. He's probably 18 inches tall.
Middle one's a scrub.
The front's the big one. There's shade on the other side of that hill there right now. All that shade's gonna do is it's gonna shift this way.
Of course, the other guys are going higher, above them.
With one of the largest muley bucks we'd ever found bedded in the shade on a distant side hill, there was absolutely nothing we could do except sit and wait patiently for the wind to pick up. But the thing is, it's never quite that easy. You see, the hunt for a giant buck like this actually began several years ago. And as we took off riding towards this buck for the very first time, my mind drifted backwards to where this hunt truly began.
We're a little bit later than we wanted to be, but it actually turned out really good. We've been missing quite a few deer. We've actually been hiking down into the coulees and starting to sit there for dark and see if they're trying to feed along the riverbed there. But a lot of these deer are coming across from this field here, hopping the road, and then slithering down into the coulees to bed. So we've probably seen 20 bucks at least this morning.
4 really nice ones.
Like 4. One really, really nice one. So I'm gonna send a head up here. There's always a turnaround spot there. We're gonna come back, park. We got a wind blowing straight out of the west today, so we're gonna park at the very, very tip of those coulees over there and just start working our way up the fingers. And all these other big deer just went right over, right somewhere in the middle here. So it's just a matter of wind and if we can find them. Bedded just about as far away as you can possibly get from the road. He is on probably the last little knoll before it goes way straight flat. So we're in the flats here right now, trying to get enough of an angle around him, circle around him, and I think if we can get up to the other side of Coulee and back onto the top, we'll have a good chance of him going this way, and a guy should be able to just peek over the edge and then just shoot him straight down. Hopefully he's not bedded real far from the top, and it's also not real big coulee either, so I'd imagine we're probably walking all the way over there for nothing, but he is a giant deer, so I want to try and see if we can hopefully get him, but I've had not too good of luck here today. But here we go.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Top Grade Construction, PX2 Broadheads, Vortex Optics, Covert Scouting Cameras, Poacher's Corner, and the MD of Bonneville. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Deluxe Waltons, built in Canada for Canadian conditions. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Dory River Outfitters, Saskatchewan's premier bear destination.
One buck bedded halfway up, looking this way, and the big one is bedded behind him, further this way.
Knowing that there were two different bucks bedded together, their hearts sank as a young buck busted out of the brush beneath them and took off running. They knew that the giant old buck likely wouldn't be far behind, and it wasn't long until they saw him work his way out onto the flats and out of range. He had no idea why the young buck busted out, but as a smart old buck often does, he wasn't going to stick around and find out. When Corey started this journey a few years back, he made it very clear that he was only going to be targeting the oldest, most mature bucks that we could find. He was fortunate to kill a great buck back in 2014, but this time, he wanted something special. He knew that it would likely take him several years to accomplish, and in the area we hunt, finding a giant old buck isn't easy. In fact, we've gone entire seasons without finding a deer that would be special enough for Corey to pursue, and no matter how hard I would try to convince him to stalk other deer, he wouldn't budge. Heading into the 2017 season, I knew once again that it was going to take a very special deer to get Corey excited. And as we stared at the giant frame deer 3 kilometers off into the distance through the Vortex spotting scope, it soon became clear that we had found him.
Wind finally came up here. We spotted a nice buck this morning. This is our first day out. Had something to eat. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit, so we're gonna try and make a move on him. He's a real good 4x4, like a decent buck, so hard to tell from that distance, but the one a little bit lower is gonna be the one that we're gonna be after, I think. So once we get over there, we'll have a better look and make sure the wind's good, and we'll see if we can get something done here. Not bad.
Pretty sure it's around this one here, but do you remember what it looked like?
Yeah, I remember kind of a darker knoll. Once a guy gets up close like this, it's so hard to landmark them and try and find where they're at. But we're kind of retracing his steps. He initially bedded down just over there. His other buddies came and went past him. He followed them. He went down this dip, and I thought they were gonna come up on top of that hill over there, but they went around that knoll, and they're bedded on the backside of that knoll there. So wind's starting to really pick up here. Just gotta make sure we don't mess this up. So we're gonna peek over this hill. I'm pretty sure they're over there, though. What do you think?
It's gotta be. Try it anyways. I hope they're not over here.
No, me neither. They're over there. Just over the hill. He's probably got to be like, what, 80 yards maybe? 80? 100 yards still, yeah. lose myself on this wide open hill, so we're gonna stay tucked back a little bit.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Maroney Motors, Deluxe Wall Tents, Top Notch Taxidermy, Extreme Fat Tire Bikes, and Victory Archery. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by the MD of Bonnyville. Lake adventures happen here. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Top Grade Construction in Lloydminster, Alberta.
Oh, it's a touch high.
He's going down.
He's hurting, buddy. He's hurting, buddy. He's hurting. Yes! Oh, yeah.
Dude, that thing is huge.
Holy moly. Oh. Oh. I don't even know what to say about it. Oh, I thought it was just a touch high. I just thought I come to full draw. We were over there. Then it's like 32 yards, right? So we come a little bit closer here. I come back to full draw, leveled out on the bubble, put the 30-yard pin down. A little bit low, but I don't know what to say. That's easily my biggest archery mule deer.
That thing is huge.
Oh man. Oh, doesn't help. I'm sick as a dog. We drove up here last night. We didn't get in till 2:30 in the morning, set up our tents, up at 5 in the morning, out here hunting again. It's plus 30. It's September 2nd, buddy, and we got a mule deer down.
And a giant one.
Me and Dana went back and got the girls and got all of our equipment here, so he's just laying dead up on the hill there, so we're gonna go up to him for the first time and have a look at him. Let's go. Oh, holy moly, you guys. Oh, look at this deer. Look how heavy this deer is. Dude, look at the forks on this thing. Oh, I didn't see this. I never seen that there. Look, dude, look how heavy this thing is, man. I don't even know what to say. First stalk of the year. First hunting day. It's September 2nd here. We spotted these guys in the morning, watched them go down. Me and Dana packed up, went to put a stalk on them, crawled right into 25 yards. He heard us, he stood up, gave me a few seconds, which they normally shouldn't have, and I zipped the PX2 right through with my new Halon 32. And look at the size of this deer. Holy moly.
After a long 3-year journey, Corey had finally put it all together and was rewarded with one of the largest typical archery muleys killed in Alberta that year. And as much as we would have liked to sit back and celebrate the moment, we found ourselves packed up and heading to another area that very evening to try and take advantage of the short window of time that we had. Now, if you watched the show last year, you may remember the heartbreaking story of Darcy's 5-year journey to kill her first mule deer with her bow. It was a hunt that broke her down and beat her up before finally finding success. Now, exactly 1 year later, in the exact same coulee system, she'd found a beautiful buck that was bedded in a very vulnerable spot.
This is gonna be hot, but I need some pockets.
With the right conditions, it took us less than 20 minutes to move into one of the best positions we've ever found ourselves in. 23 yards, hidden in the sage, and the sun at our back. All he needed to do was stand up, and it was over. We baked in the sun for over 3 hours before a doe came busting over the edge of the coulee unexpectedly, taking him with her. And as quickly as it began, it was all over.
He just squirted up over the hill right beside us here. There was a doe that came up from the top and dropped down and was walking right in front of him, and something must have spooked him. Well, it was obviously her. He didn't even stand up, he just spooked right out of his bed.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Dory River Outfitters, Saskatchewan's premier bear destination, Marlin Recreational Products, Wapiti River Outdoors, Matthews Archery, and iHunter. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Vortex, the force of optics. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Maroney Motors and Oilfield Sales.
I think, did I? Oh my gosh, he's going down, Dana. Oh my gosh, he's going down.
What a shot!
Oh my gosh, 50 yards? I never thought in a million years I would ever shoot a mule deer at 50 yards. Oh my gosh. That felt like the cleanest shot I've ever taken. I honestly had so much time there. He stood there, he stopped. I was actually worried about this fence post here because it was right beside my pin. Oh, I'm just shaking. He didn't even go 50 yards. Oh, I see him now. I can just see one antler poking out here. This is my second mule deer with my bow. Look how heavy he is. He's actually really heavy. He's kind of like palmated here by the base. Look how nice he is. So normally we try to come after these deer kind of over top of the hill, but the way this one worked out and the way the conditions were for us, we did it completely different than we normally would. We actually came around the hill. The wind, there was barely any wind, and the little bit of wind that we did have was blowing in the wrong direction straight towards him. I'm not sure how we got in so close. Well, we got into just over 50 yards, which was still pretty close for the wind being wrong. But yeah, we just sneaked over the hill. There was actually a fence between me and the deer, and when I drew back, there was a fence post, and I was really worried that I was gonna hit it, so I just moved my arrow a little bit away from it, and I hoped for the best, and I ended up not hitting it, thank goodness. But yeah, he just walked out slowly, didn't spook at all, which I'm not sure again how he didn't, but it must have been meant to be because it all worked out with the worst conditions possible. So super hot weather. These poor deer don't want to go anywhere. They're not making many miles. We watch them in the morning, they just bed down and they just sit there all day, trying to soak up as much shade as they can because there's not very much of it available right now.